Welcome to the Rustic Garden. Today I'm going to talk about growing container strawberries, and we're going to grow them in 3 different ways. We'll really set them up in 3 different ways. I'm going to show you how to set up the soil. You want 4 to 6 inch containers, just like the ones right there. That's about the depth that you need. I'm in Maryland Zone 7, so my strawberries will come back year after year. I'm going to show you how to plant some that you buy from the store that look just like that. They're ready to go. We're also going to talk about planting the crowns that are inside of that bag. In that bag there are about 10 of them. And we're also going to replant strawberries that I've had growing, talk about disease, and I'll show you how to make a baking soda spray for the leaves just to keep off the disease. And in my area they tend to get something that looks a little bit just like that down on that bottom leaf, and if you preventatively spray with a baking soda spray you can really control that. So let me get started filling the containers. I'm also going to show you how to set this 5-gallon container up into a strawberry container garden. We'll get to that. But I first wanted to show you the ways that you can buy them. These were, I think, $3.49 or $7.99 at Home Depot. And you always look for sales because you can get them for $12. So $3 is pretty fair. They're going to come in these peat pots. Everything you read says they'll decay, they'll break down, all that stuff. That's not really true. I mean, over years and years they will, but not for the growing cycle. So always take the top off. You don't want, of course, leave the plastic on, but you don't want a lip of peat moss hanging up here because it will wick water away from the root system. So trim that off. You also want to break or cut a couple of slits into the peat moss around here and even at the bottom. Break it up so that the roots can easily get out. So that's one way you can buy your strawberry plants, and there's usually 2 plants that come inside of here. The other way that you can buy them, and they're cheaper, again these were like $3.79 each, but I got them $3 a piece when you got 4 for $12. Now these are just strawberry crowns, or the roots. They come in, a box like this, or they come in a bigger bag, and sometimes you can see the whole root systems. The whole key when you buy this is if you look at this bag, you can see moisture. You don't want to buy a bag of strawberry root crowns or strawberry crowns that's completely dry, because those roots are dead. They're not going to grow for you. When you set up the crowns in here, they're not going to grow. So make sure whatever you do, when you buy them in a bag, make sure there's some moisture in there. This is what they look like. Usually there's a rubber band or something holding them together. And you have to break them up. There's 10 in here. These are moist. You want to gently break them apart. But I'll show you the trick, and you can see this one's even growing. The night before that you take these out to plant into your garden, soak them overnight, and these are going to be a lot easier to take apart. We'll do that in a second. Now this box was $5.99, so you get 10 crowns for $5.99. I'll show you how to set them up, and we're going to actually put them into the 5-gallon container, but they're going to probably take a season to establish and grow before you get strawberries. You'll get strawberries off of these first year. Fertilizer. I'm recommending any fertilizer close to a 5-5-5-5 fertilizer. 5N, 5P, 5K, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. About 1 tablespoon on this side, 1 tablespoon on that side. The container mix, I'll put a link in. I've already showed you how to make that for your containers. You want to make sure you have container mix that has at least 50% organic matter for retaining water. And this is how I just set up the soil. All the way to the top, we're going to water this every 7 to 14 days with a water-soluble fertilizer. These dry granules are a slow release. They take time to break down, but we're going to use either a processed chemical fertilizer at about quarter strength or an organic fertilizer. Both water-soluble, and my other videos explain what they are. But every 7 to 14 days to keep the feed going into the plants. Planting is pretty simple. We've set this up, go through, break off the dead leaves. You only plant a strawberry up to the level where the crown is coming up. If you bury over it, it can kill the plant back. So do not bury this deeper. Tomatoes, you bury deep on the stem, a quarter of the stem, half of the stem. For strawberries, we want the line to be right here, and we're going to just put one on this side, press it in, and we're going to put one on the other side. Tear off the top. Don't let any of the peat moss stay above the ground. Some strawberries are already growing. There's different varieties you can buy that some will produce all season long, some will produce in June. That's up to you. Break up the peat pot. You know, we could put a third one in here if we wanted to. It's big enough. Now, make sure you don't go too deep. And that's the basic setup. We'll get to watering this in with the fertilizer when I've got them all planted. Now, strawberries will put out runners, so over the season you can tuck the runners into different places, and this will fill out with strawberry plants. Let's do the smaller one and then get to the crown. So we're going to get these two into the box, but I wanted to show you the different parts of the strawberry plant. So when you're doing these bare root crowns, the roots are at the bottom and you can see these are alive. This is the crown right here, and you don't want to bury this under the ground. The soil level has to come right to here. The roots come out from the bottom, the leaves come from the top. And sometimes people end up planting it like this. Don't bury the crown. And here it is right here. You can see the crown top is actually here, so this is out of the ground a little bit. So I'll bring the soil up to here, but you can see the roots coming out. So that's the biggest tip really, is just don't bury the top of the crown so that you put the part of the strawberry plant that is going to grow in the leaves above the ground. I know it sounds simple when someone tells you it, but you know, when you look at something like this, what's that look like? It just looks like a mess. Alright, so again, in this space, about 1 rounded tablespoon. Again, try and be as close as you can to a 5-5-5 NPK. This is actually chicken manure, organic fertilizer, and this is a 3-2-3. Now these are going to be packed pretty closely together, but that's alright. Next year, when I show you how to, you know, basically break this up and replant it, if this is filled with strawberry plants, just break them up and put them into a bigger container. Now the crowns, or just the bare roots, I like to use when I set up these containers. Now, I've showed you in the other videos, and I'm going to put links to the container mix, how to set it up, all that kind of stuff in this video. But I fill it up halfway, 2 tablespoons of my organic fertilizer. Whatever one you want to use is fine. Nothing is better than anything else out there. That sets up the bottom half. Now, to create a 5-gallon container bucket, put in 4 holes right here. I just make triangles. Triangles are the easiest to cut. You could do more. Sometimes people put them all the way around, but at least half your bucket is going to be sitting in darkness because of the way the sun tracks. So I just do 4 on one side. To set that up, bring the soil level right up to the level of where those holes are, just below it. And it'll look something like this, just below that. Because what you want to do is take your strawberry crown. Remember, this is the end right here where the leaves are going to grow out. Fan open the roots. And you just poke that through the hole there and let it sit out just like this. And you do that all the way around. And try and fan open the root system so they're going throughout the container mix. Now, after I clean these up, only 8 of the systems of the root systems looked good. The other ones were all dried and actually fell apart. All right, so here's what they look like set up at the bottom. The leaf end is sticking through the top of the crown. The roots are fanned out in here, and I'm just going to fill the soil up to here, and then we'll plant the top. Alright, we filled it to the top. You're going to put in 2 tablespoons of your organic fertilizer and just work it in to the top 4 inches or so. One tip that's really important is to make sure the holes right down here aren't too close to the top. Or what'll happen is when you water the top, the water's going to escape through the hole here and it's just going to pull all your soil out. So you want to be at least a good 4 inches down here for where you're planting the strawberry crowns. For the top, it's pretty simple. Grab your root, spread the bottom part of the crown out, the roots out, and keep the crown above the soil. So spread the roots out and just drop soil in. It doesn't have to be perfect, but try and spread the roots out as much as you want, keeping this crown above the soil. I'm going to do the rest of these and you'll see them at the end when I go and water them. Alright, so let's get to planting or replanting the strawberry plants. I've had these in here maybe 5 years. They come back every year. I'm in Maryland Zone 7. Strawberry plants are winter hardy. They can freeze, die back to the ground, they'll come back. Pretty straightforward. I want new soil. I want to move these around. This is my soil knife. Just cut right through. Dig out the plant. Pull out a nice big root ball. You can see the whole system right here. Pull back some of the dirt. I don't want to replant this again over the top of the crown exactly at soil level. Here's one that died out and didn't come back. So there's 2 plants there. And I'm going to basically take these and put them into new flower boxes to expand my strawberry plants. I'm just going to put these 2 plants right here in the middle. Huge root ball. Strawberry plants are quite hardy. There's the crown coming up. It's not buried, and that's good to go. Alright, let me clean this up and we'll talk about feeding with water-soluble fertilizer. Alright, so the strawberry plants and the root crowns have been planted. We're going to have to give these a water-soluble fertilizer every 7 to 14 days. And with strawberry plants, it's about every 14 days. The water-soluble fertilizer, and again, check out my other videos for more explanation, but the water-soluble fertilizers have nutrients, NP and K, that are immediately ready to your plants. You can use an organic. This is a 312 NPK, perfectly fine. Again, stay around a 555 or less for the NPK. This is a processed or chemical fertilizer with the 1530-15 NPK. That's too high. You can use this as a quarter strength. The chemical or processed fertilizers are perfectly safe. I'm going to put fish emulsion in here. I watered it a little bit, but just really soak in your strawberry transplants with the fish fertilizer. Fish fertilizer is organic. It's a 511 fertilizer. The 5 is a nice nitrogen number for leaf growth, but just really soak the plants in. And then finally, for disease, my strawberry plants get a disease that affects their leaves. Not even sure what it's called, but it comes every year. And the way that you deal with it is to know when the plant diseases come to your garden and spray ahead of time. So you can use a baking soda spray. The baking soda spray I make is 1 teaspoon per 32 ounces of water. This is 16 ounces, so it's double that size. Just shake it up. Always test spray any new sprays you get by spraying a couple of plants and waiting 24 hours. You don't want to damage them. Take your baking soda spray, spray the undersides of the leaves, the top sides of the leaves. Do this about once a week, and that will slow down any diseases that may take hold of the plant. It doesn't always stop them, but it slows them down greatly. And what the baking soda spray does is it raises the pH level of the leaves, and it makes it harder for the diseases to really attach. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out my blog at www.therustedgarden.blogspot.com, and also check out my YouTube videos. And again, I will link all the container series that are important to this video so that you can learn more about the fertilizer and creating your container mix. Thanks.